So we have time for Q&A. I'm going to try and bring the mic around so that you have the mic in your hand, which, you know, just be cautious about how long you have the mic in your hand, please. Thank you for clapping. Okay, here we go. Sally.
Thank you, Greenspan. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Has anyone in this room worked with Greenspan? Okay,
Quite
awesome.
a few people.
So I want to ask the audience.
About 10 of them in here. 10 or 15 people in here that I've worked with.
Beautiful. If you could maybe give me some examples of how Greenspan has been or has showed humility in his collaborations. All right.
Yeah, get Ashley first.
That's what I really want to know.
Yeah. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? The few that know me and the few that don't, I can introduce myself. My name is Ashley Alexander. I'm a singer, songwriter in the area. But oh, thank you kindly. I look crazy right now. I'm not the biggest morning person, but I actually sing back up with Brian Green.
It's me.
And I guess obviously everyone has a different experience of humility with him, but I'm kind of lucky because I kind of get the great end of that stick often. Beyond his sound advice, beyond his infinite compassion for the rest of us, he's one of the few artists, I just did an interview recently and I said that he's one of the few artists I know who's selflessly humble and thinks of the bigger picture. So when it comes to a show, it's, okay, how many songs can I get on with Ashley to sing? How can I get Sam to set up her jewelry? How can I get Cyrano and this person to shoot? How can I get this person to project their music? It's a very selfless way that naturally comes to him. And I notice that the older I get, the less that I realize that people are actually like that. So if you notice that someone's like that, you kind of got to take heed to it for a second and respect it because they don't make them like that. And Indie Fest is a very pivotal thing to the two of us for two very separate reasons. But it kind of came collective at the end. What happened with him and his family member and his friend, at the same time, I had lung surgery and my lung had collapsed. So I had been maybe a week and a half out of healing from my surgery and did Indie Fest. And maybe 10 minutes before we went on stage, another artist came up to me and said, "Oh, Ashley, hi, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while." And hugged me.
Hug. I wanted to punch
and
her
picked
in
me
her
up
face so hard.
by the lung. 5 minutes before we go on stage and I hit the floor because I don't know what to do. And now I've got a 45-minute set and I don't know what's going on. And he's standing there. And we both kind of look at each other, and I was like, okay, it's over. Like, it's over, we're not doing this. And he goes, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? I said, okay, I got it. And then in the middle of the show, he just kind of stops and goes, I just want to take a second for you all to realize that she's been singing for 20 minutes and has had lung surgery. Something that the average person wouldn't have known. If you see the footage, you probably had no clue that it even happened. And it was one of the scariest things for me to get back on stage because it was a fear of a month of, I don't know if I'm going to sing again. So to have someone kind of in your corner to blindly be like, whatever happens, it's gonna be okay, but just come with me. It's like, okay, let's do this. And afterwards, obviously it worked out better, and then it turned into, oh, the girl with lung surgery turned around and killed it. But at any point in that, he could have said to me, no, I'll just get another singer to do it and you heal. But instead, it was, there's no way I can kind of figure this out without you. And I'm not gonna do this without you. So it was kind of this weird dichotomy of he was gonna lose 3 people kind of in a month's time, and then one kind of stood around and was still like, okay, I'm still here, so now what do I do? Okay, well, this is the best thing I think you should do. So for me, I see humility out of him often because I take a step back and see what he does with the rest of his friends and with the rest of his associates besides me. But I'm kind of the lucky one who gets to sing with them and kind of get a foot in on the ground floor of what's going on. So I'm the one when you have the meeting and go, okay, well, I'm gonna do a show, and we're getting ballet dancers. Okay. You gotta respect someone like that.
Anybody else? I saw one hand up.
Good morning, everybody. I won't be as long as Ashley, I promise. My name is Cyrano. I am a photographer here in Baltimore, Maryland. The first time I met Green, actually, he invited me to a collective called Good Supply. I think that was like 3 years ago. And I will say from the first day that I have met him, even before working with him, he accepted me and embraced me like I was a family member. So basically, when you look at him, what you see is honestly what you get, and everything that he speaks is the truth, and everything that he says is real. So I will say that I have a genuine love for him that I don't have for a lot of people, because he's a genuine. I don't, but no. He's a very genuine person, and he expresses that not only in his work, but also in his day to day and how he walks. So like, there's no difference between Brian or Greenspan, and I respect you for your work, and I thank you for that, and I love you, and I appreciate you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, girl. Sam.
Good morning. Creative morning, everyone.
Sam.
I am Sam, a wardrobe stylist and accessory designer. I've had the pleasure of working with my brother Greenspan since the Good Supply era. He reached out to me, and then ever since then, we've just had this great chemistry. He has an awesome spirit, has been the same since day one, and I've just seen his growth, and I'm tremendously proud of him and so excited for all of the strides that he's made in his career. And just overall as a person, he's just wonderful. Like Cyrano said, what you see is what you get. This man is like, he's so awesome, amazing. His spirit shines like gold. It's like awesome when he truly does think about everyone when, that he works with consistently. He's always really trying to pull people in. And it's always awesome, and I appreciate you, and I love you too.
Any questions? This doesn't have to be any
Hey,
more praise for
Blackrock.
me. I appreciate it, but
Do you want to come up here? Because my mic's, Blackrock.
It's not that long. Pause.
By the way, The Art of Caring, Max Bent and Jamal Blackrock Collier, our past speakers, are emceeing that, so you should come to that especially.
Peace, everybody. I just wanted to say how great Greenspan is. It's like, no, I'm joking. I actually do have a question, but before I go any further, I wanted to say that when you think about the definition of humility, the root word is humble, and it's not to think that you're better than anyone else. And what I think is awesome about the homie Greenspan, like we literally have just started building with each other over the past couple of months, like couple of weeks really. And the first time we really built was about last week. Yeah, last week, and I put up a post saying I needed to get some more local artists that I really thought were dope. So I went over to his house just to pick up the CD, and I had my daughter with me. And when he opened the door, you know how sometimes when people open the door, they're like, and they peek out and they're like, hey, what's up, man? What's good? What you doing? All right, thanks. All right, talk to you later, brother. All right, take care now. All right, God bless. All right. But he didn't do that. He literally opened the door, and he opened it wide, and he stood back. So I was like, oh, man, so now I got to come in his house. Damn. So I walked in, but it's funny because just noticing him briefly off that, he's studying me. You know what I mean? But he's not studying me to see like what he can get from me. He's observing me as another human being. You know what I mean? And I'm doing the same thing to him. So when he opened the door, I was thinking, well, what is he going to do? So he did that, and I came in, and he was very thoughtful and kind, and he offered me food. He was in there chefing, you know what I'm saying? Black boy RD in there getting it. You know what I mean? And I thought it was awesome. You know what I mean? And the exchange that we had was such a genuine exchange. Even though my daughter, like, she pooped on herself a couple times, and I had to like put something on I wanted to make sure I covered. He had a really nice couch, but I didn't want to change her on the floor. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. All right, so my question is, respectfully, right. All right, so my question is, how do you feel being humble has helped you, and how do you feel sometimes being humble has hurt you? Because I know sometimes being the bigger person kind of makes you feel like an asshole to yourself sometimes. So like when you're doing something, you're doing it out the kindness of your heart, but the other person is being a jerk, but you can be a bigger jerk, but you choose not to be. How do you channel that?
Yeah, that was a great question. Thanks. Well, I go with help me first. Being humble has helped me. One, just helped in sense of just your attitude. I have a friend named Reggie Black. He's from DC. I think he's in like Thailand right now. And on his IG, it's like a bunch of sticky notes, and he just puts the messages on the sticky notes and just post them up. And one of them was like, matter of fact, I seen this one quote right before our March 7th event, and it was like right on time. It was like, nothing goes according to plan. Your attitude is the constant. And I'm like, what? Lets me know what kind of day I'm gonna have May 7th or March 7th. Nothing's going according to plan, and that's how it happened. But your attitude, and not just with stuff that doesn't go according to plan, but when you're dealing with people, I mean, it's just important to not be an asshole and just be humble, because your attitude, that's where your reputation comes from. Your attitude and your actions and your work, and then like the worst. If you have a bad attitude and that reputation spreads, I mean, it's not gonna happen to me, but you could get blackballed or whatever the case may be. It's just like people have reputations. To me, I try to not let people's reputation affect our interaction. It's like, let me deal with them and figure out how it goes. Because some people that people hate treat me like gold or love me, you feel what I'm saying, or vice versa. So it's worth being humble, because not being humble can hurt you in the long run. So how has it hurt me in being humble? I don't know, certain things. When Carmen hugged Ashley, I had to tell who that was. When she hugged Ashley, I wanted to punch her.
That was like the universal feeling from everyone back.
Yeah. So I just had to not do it. So. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, whatever. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of an instance, in particular, so I can give you all an example. But I mean, it's sometimes it just doesn't pay to fight fire with fire, even if somebody is being a jerk, if you will. You feel what I'm saying? Sometimes you swallow your pride, if you will. That's another figure of speech. And I mean, just be humble and move on, for real. I mean, as long as it's not like, somebody's actions or attitude isn't taking money out my pocket and food out my family's mouth, then we good. Or hurting me or getting me locked up, then I don't need to retaliate. You feel what I'm saying? You could pray for that person and move on. So.
Okay, Wesley. Clap for that.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, because I think I was paying attention to your presentation, and unlike many people, you didn't take this opportunity to just show your work. You actually talked about a theme and how you are impacted by humility. And I wondered if that was a conscious decision, or if it was just you just being you and just talking about the topic instead of just sitting here and listening to 25 minutes of Greenspan.
Right. Kind of both. I mean, just me being me. I mean, they've told you, what you see is what you get. That's what it is. But I mean, realistically, if you just make the conscious decision and think about the topic, it's like if I came up here and gave you slideshows of the 7 mixtapes and the 1 studio album, and hey, and check out this music video and all that, all in the spirit of humility. Thank you, everyone. Good night. It's like, that wouldn't fly. So, yeah, I didn't want to do that. I mean, even, we talked about even performing, you feel what I'm saying? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that, because, one, it's a speaking engagement. And I mean, that's the whole point. I came up here to talk to you guys about humility, not perform control and have Ashley sing the bridge. Like, that's not what I'm here for. You want to see me perform, follow me on IG and find out when the next show is. Simple as that. So yeah, I think just both. It was just worth not, I mean, we're going to see a trailer from my upcoming documentary, but it ties in. It really does. It ties in with, some of the things I've talked about already, and just, it's not a documentary of like, look at his accomplishments. It's like, no, look at the ups and downs. Look at the real life. So.
Cool. I think we have time for a couple more. Yeah.
Is there an instance from recent news or recent events where you just sat back and you're like, you know what? That could have been handled a lot better with a little more humility?
I'm sure there is. See, I love Q&A. I love like on the spot questions, but then it's like, damn, I don't know. One, I choose not to watch the news because it's just, especially local news, because it's depressing. That might call for a side conversation because I don't want to sit up here and just think for minutes and minutes and minutes at a time. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to get back to you on that. I will say this, and it's not answering your question at all, but something that humbled me last night, I ran over my tailor's house. I had to get these slacks lined up real quick because they were a little bit too long. So leaving there, I'm driving like Utah and like Franklin, and I'm at a red light, and just see this brother. He might have, I don't know if he was, where he was coming from, might have been coming straight from the hospital, but he walking like it was no problem. His feet to his chest was no problem, but he had like the real kind of neck brace, like to as though you really can't move your neck, and his head was wrapped up. Like, did they just discharged you? Nobody picked you up? You couldn't catch a cab? Like, and I'm like, you know, it's a gospel song, like, thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. It's like, it could have been me. You feel what I'm saying? So I was humbled to be able to, you know, ride in my car and go home as opposed to walking around with all these injuries fresh out of the hospital. It was, you know, so that was humbling, just observing that. But I'm sorry that didn't answer your question, but I'll get back to you.
Creative Morning, Greenspan.
Creative Morning to you.
This is about your journey, a question about your journey. I was wondering when you first noticed or learned to start self-reflecting, and also who taught you how to love like this?
Well, both of my parents are in the building. It's my father, Ralph, my mother, Yvonne, is back there. So yeah, both of them, of course, but I've always, in conversation and just in my head, my aunt, Gladys Harris, we call her Sis. I have a tattoo on my arm that says Sis. And just her actions, like growing up as a child, I don't know if I've ever, probably did, but I don't know if I've ever heard her say I love you, but she never had to say it. You feel what I'm saying? It was, you know, just reflecting on, like, you know, her love, if you will. It was just like, just observing that, you know, certain things you pick up as a child. We got to give these kids more credit. You got to watch what you play around your kids and all that, because they are smarter than you think. So anyway, but just picking up on stuff like that, or just in hindsight looking at it, it's just like, man, she did that, and she did that. Like, you know, it just teaches you. It's like, you know, that's just lessons you pick up from life and experience, for real. But just keep people, you know, I have an awesome family, so.
Hey, so I'm wondering if the idea of humility comes from any sort of religious or spiritual place for you as well.
Sure. I mean, you know, everybody has their own beliefs, like that coexist slide. So, yeah, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, the Bible definitely hits on humility a lot. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's different things that apply. So there's principles in the Bible, and there's principles not in the Bible. So you can step outside and have a humbling experience. But yeah, so not just biblically influenced, if you will, but sure. All right, now we can play the trailer.
Now you can play the trailer.
Cool.
You have the thing.
So yeah, this is a trailer. I have to shout out Akio Evans. He's an awesome videographer, director. Yeah, he's the man. Keys to the City Films, and this is just a trailer for an upcoming documentary, Stairway to Heaven.
Welcome to Baltimore. Please remove all valuables from your vehicle.
Green separates himself from the rest of Baltimore artists because he talks about real life events going on in his life.
He just has a different voice. He's not giving his audience something that's not real. He's giving his audience authenticity.
By no small margin, he should be the biggest rapper in Baltimore.
Right now I bring my man to the stage, Baltimore Zone. Mr. 410, Mr. Midnight, goes by the name of Greenspan. Let's work!
Greenspan isn't afraid to push the envelope. He isn't afraid to talk about God and talk about not selling your soul and Stairway to Heaven. It's just different. Like, take Control, for example.
Yeah. It's just the human condition, how they condition my vision, and I ain't knowing the difference. Got the strangest suspicion. You gon' sway my decision, but how you tamper with physics when I was made in this image? That
Stairway to Heaven, I mean, it has to do with a spiritual heaven, but the thought behind the album wasn't so much a spiritual heaven, it was an attainable goal. We had a big show that went awesome, you feel what I'm saying, branded as Baltimore Indie Fest. My cousin came, my cousin named Shay Allen Mitchell, you know what I mean, AKA Lil Foul.
Young Foul, down bottom, like this town, you heard me, AKA Shay.
First time he ever seen me perform, first time he ever heard the record, I got called Free. I talk about him, I mention him, I say Free Lil Foul, Bino, and Shetty, because Lil Foul, Bino, and Shetty was all locked up at the time when I wrote this record. So this is the first time he heard it, first time he seen me perform and all that. We killed it. He, you know, showed his love. I shared a bottle of Dom Perignon with the nigga and all that. You feel what I'm saying? It was a good night. 3 days later, the niggas killed Chubb. I was real messed up. Woke up after one of my drunk naps and got a text from my man Ogun that Ooh had passed. And within 24 hours, I get the word that, you know, both these brothers had passed away. Based on getting that info, I wasn't even able to be productive. On my stairway to heaven, I go through these things, so I'm gonna rap about it because some other people may be going through similar stuff. This might be the soundtrack for them, just to get them through, and I'm just gonna express myself. So I'm on my stairway to accomplishment, you feel what I'm saying, while I'm here on earth.